A shy girl walks into the ER alone, terrified, embarrassed, and in pain. But what she doesn't know, the doctor who'll treat her is a secret millionaire, and he's about to fall for her. What starts as a medical visit turns into a love story that heals more than just her body. You won't believe how fate brought them together. Let's dip in. It was past midnight when Sanaa, a 22-year-old introverted college student, stepped hesitantly into the emergency room. The cold air hit her face the moment the automatic doors slid open. She clutched her bag tightly to her chest and tugged her oversized hoodie further over her head, hoping it would somehow make her invisible. Her eyes avoided the nurses, the other patients, even the posters on the wall. She stared at the floor tiles, counting them nervously as her heart pounded. Her face was red, not from fever or heat, but from something worse: embarrassment. For the past 24 hours, Sanaa had been experiencing a strange, sharp pain, something she couldn't even describe properly. The discomfort had worsened, moving from annoying to unbearable. It was a private issue, something intimate, not the kind of thing you text your roommate about, not something you Google when you're already panicking, and definitely not something you walk into a hospital for alone, unless you had no other choice. And that was the worst part: her anxiety. Sanaa hated hospitals. She avoided doctor appointments unless it was absolutely necessary. The fluorescent lights, the smell of antiseptic, the echo of machines and beeping monitors, it all overwhelmed her. But tonight, her body had made the decision for her. The pain was too much to ignore. As she slowly approached the reception desk, her voice barely came out. I need to see a doctor. It's urgent." The nurse looked up kindly, noticing her flushed cheeks and trembling hands. "Of course, sweetheart. Just fill this form, and we'll get you in soon." Sanaa took the clipboard with shaking fingers. She thought this night would be her worst memory, but fate had other plans. Dr. Zion Raymond, 30, stood by the break room window, sipping the last of his bitter hospital coffee. It was nearly 5 a.m., the final hour of his long, exhausting night shift. Most of his colleagues had already left, but Zion stayed behind, as usual, double-checking patient reports and handling any last-minute emergencies. He was tall, composed, and effortlessly charismatic, the kind of doctor patients trusted immediately. But what most people didn't know was that he was the son of one of the country's wealthiest medical magnates. His family name opened doors everywhere, from private hospitals to elite social clubs. But Zion had no interest in the spotlight. He chose a quiet life, wearing a white coat instead of designer suits, spending his nights helping the sick instead of partying in private villas. Just as he was about to wrap up, his pager buzzed. Room 6. Sensitive case. Young female. High anxiety. Zion slipped on his stethoscope and walked down the sterile hallway. When he entered the room, he expected another routine case. Instead, he found her, a young woman, curled up in the examination chair, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. She avoided his gaze, her hoodie pulled up almost to her nose. He softened his voice instantly. "Hi, I'm Dr. Zion. You're safe here. There's no rush. Just take your time." The girl, Sanaa, glanced at him nervously, her lips parting slightly as if unsure whether to speak or stay silent. Her voice, when it came, was barely audible. She explained her symptoms with pauses, hesitations, and shame. But Zion didn't rush her. He didn't interrupt. He simply listened, with patience, kindness, and complete attention. For the first time in a long time, Sanaa felt like someone wasn't just hearing her. They truly cared. After the examination and test results came in, Dr. Zion sat across from Sanaa with a reassuring calm in his eyes. He placed the file gently on the counter and leaned slightly forward, not as a doctor towering over a patient, but as a human being offering comfort. "The good news," he began softly, "is that it's nothing too serious. Just a mild infection, common, really. A short course of medication will fix it. You'll be just fine in a few days." Sanaa blinked quickly, and Zion immediately noticed the glisten in her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it, and she turned her face slightly, trying to hide it. But it wasn't the physical pain that made her cry. It was everything else: the loneliness, the shame of talking about something so personal, the fear that something might be seriously wrong, and the overwhelming pressure of handling it all alone. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Zion didn't nod and walk away like most would. He hesitated for a moment, then spoke gently. "Can I ask you something?" Sanaa, caught off guard, looked up. "You're strong," he said. "Stronger than you think. Coming here alone tonight, facing this kind of fear without anyone holding your hand. That takes courage. Most people would panic. But you didn't. You stayed." Sanaa was stunned. No one had ever called her strong before. Not her friends. Not her professors. Not even her family. But something in Zion's voice made her believe it. As he handed her the prescription, he looked her in the eye and added softly, "If you ever feel alone again, just remember, you deserve care. From others, and most importantly, from yourself." That sentence stayed with her long after she walked out the hospital doors. 3 weeks had passed since that night in the emergency room, but Sanaa couldn't shake the memory of it, or of him. Life had returned to its usual rhythm. Early morning classes, long hours in cafes with her textbooks, and her usual habit of keeping to herself. But something inside her had quietly shifted. She found herself thinking about Dr. Zion Raymond more than she wanted to admit. Not just his calm voice or his warm smile, but the way he spoke to her like she mattered, like she wasn't invisible. For the first time in years, someone had truly seen her, and it stirred something inside her heart. One Saturday, her literature professor recommended a charity event in town, a health fundraiser supporting underprivileged students. Sanaa, never one for crowds, almost skipped it, but something nudged her to go. Maybe she just wanted a change of scenery. She didn't expect much, until she saw him. There on stage under warm lights stood Zion, dressed not in scrubs, but in a crisp shirt with rolled-up sleeves, speaking passionately about his free health programs and mobile clinics for students. His voice was confident, his presence magnetic. Sanaa's breath caught in her throat. He wasn't just a doctor. He was a force of good. When the speech ended and the applause died down, Zion stepped off stage and glanced around. His eyes landed on hers. "Sanaa," he said, eyebrows rising in pleasant surprise. She smiled shyly, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Hi, doctor." Zion chuckled warmly. "No need for doctor today. Just Zion." There was a pause. Then he added, with a hopeful grin, "Want to grab some coffee? I'd love to hear how you've been." And for the first time, Sanaa felt excited to say yes. What started as a casual coffee turned into a 2-hour conversation filled with unexpected laughter, soft pauses, and shared vulnerabilities. From that day forward, Sanaa and Zion kept finding reasons to talk. Short texts turned into long calls, which turned into evening walks through quiet streets and lazy Sundays spent discussing books, medicine, and life. Sanaa, who had always kept her heart guarded, found herself slowly opening up. She told Zion things she'd never told anyone, about her struggles with confidence, her fear of being a burden, and how often she felt invisible in a world that moved too fast for her quiet nature. And Zion listened, truly listened. For all his wealth, charm, and reputation, Zion found something in Sanaa that none of his past relationships ever gave him: depth, sincerity, stillness. She didn't try to impress him with flashy smiles or forced words. She was simply real, and that was rare. He admired how she spoke softly, but carried a strong heart. How she saw the world in thoughtful shades, not black and white. And how, in her quiet presence, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the lake and painted the sky in orange and gold, they walked side by side in silence. Then Zion stopped, turning to her. "Sanaa," he said gently, "I don't know exactly what this is or where it's going, but I know I feel something when I'm with you. Something I haven't felt before." Sanaa's breath hitched. Her heart raced. But this time, it wasn't fear. It was something beautiful. Something new. She wasn't just healed anymore. She was seen, valued, and maybe, just maybe, she was finally being loved. Sometimes, the most unexpected visits lead to the most beautiful chapters. Sanaa walked into the ER thinking she was broken and alone, but she left with more than just medicine. She left seen, understood, and maybe even loved. Because love doesn't always come with roses. Sometimes it arrives quietly, wearing a white coat and a warm smile. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for more emotional and unforgettable stories only on this channel.